Hey y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I'm Susan, your hostess. It is kind of late in the day. My makeup has worn off a little bit, and I am just dealing with some issues, and I wanted to share this with you. And I have a confession. Now, this is part of the Are You Living in Survival Mode series that I've been writing out in my Amish journal, which is an Amish covered journal that has little Amish sayings throughout. And I picked this book up at Ollie's. It was quite inexpensive, but it sells for $9.99 US, $11.99 in Canada if you pay full price. So I have a confession. I have battled depression all my life. When I was a small child, maybe 4 or 5 years old, I witnessed a fight between my mom and dad, and it was over me. Now looking back, I know the words spoken in anger were not meant, but as a child and then as an adult, the scars remained. Ever so often, that ugly head pops up in my mind. I got to get comfortable in this chair, everybody. And that the words, "I never wanted her," comes back to memory. Words my mom had spoken. My dad took me to his sister's house to give my mom a break. Postpartum depression can carry on for years after childbirth. Mom may have been suffering with that. I truly don't know. But I was a little late in life birth also, so Mom was 39 when she had me. Around that same period of time, my mom had a hysterectomy, which causes hormonal imbalances, and it throws you into menopause. Whatever the reason, the word stuck in me. Now, years later, I do know that Mom loved me, but that is another story for another day. So our home, I'm talking about now. So our home has become cluttered. I talked about the cluttering, I think, a little while back, being a burden. I know as a child, this was my rebellion of not keeping my room tidy. Something clicked the other day, and I admitted I was suffering from depression. For me, my depression is often dealt with immediately. But something triggered this depression. And people that deal with clutter in their lives, a lot of times don't realize what is actually happening, because it is your brain is kicked into that survival mode, and so you begin to almost hoard things or collect things. In my case, I collect things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the relationships with family and things like that. So relationships with family can trigger such a depression with me. I finally understood what has happened. Ours had been a strained relationship. Siblings have little to do with me. Family that was once close moved on and left me in the dust. The years of hurt had finally caught up with me. Unfortunately, my depression has affected all my family relationships in some way. I'm still that small child being told that I wasn't wanted. My husband took the news of my revelation very well. To regain my sanity and my well-being, the clutter in our life must go, and it must go quickly. Last night he helped me with a few necessary chores that I can't do alone. With a life living with disabilities, I have my limits. Now, instead of dwelling on the past, I'm turning the page, y'all. I can begin to clean up my life. It's a journey. The question that came to my mind was, as a Christian, or can a Christian suffer with depression because I'm a Christian? The answer is yes. King David, I do believe, struggled with depression. As he penned the Psalms, he used his writings and prayers to convey to God his struggles. Job also must have been extremely depressed when everything he had was suddenly gone, including his family. The key was that these men of flesh and bone knew whom they could trust. They knew God. I know God. Depression comes in many forms, and people respond differently in each case. Mine was a lack of caring for things within my home and reached into my family relationships. My husband has lovingly stepped in beside me to help me with the chores ahead of us. I am so grateful for his help and his love. Now, with depression, I can function to an extent. But this was a brain issue, and I didn't even realize what was happening. I was living in survival mode. The brain takes over when we face face uncertainties or things that really hurt us, and we're having to deal with that. And so the brain takes over and it throws us into this survival mode. This was definitely true for me. It's baby steps. But I'm going to become normal again. I have lived with disabilities where I couldn't even use my left side of my body. I could barely dress myself. I couldn't stand up, sit, or lay flat for very long at a time. But I kept pushing, and I kept pushing myself to become independent again. Living with several autoimmune diseases has been very, very hard. And I wanted to regain my freedom. And I wanted to be free from medications and from the countless doctor's visits that I had to endure. So you see me today, able to walk with a cane, able to do some of the things that I had lost. I keep pushing, y'all. The human spirit is something else. God has given the body an amazing self-healing. He has also given us the tools, foods, and ability to overcome situations. So I am getting better. I keep reminding myself that God sustains us. He provides for us. He heals us. I am tackling my kitchen and it is looking much better. I feel better when I see a clean room. There's something about clean and ordered that is so soothing to the soul. Clutter, like chaos, is something that the devil plays on. It's a chink in my armor that I need to take care of. So each thing that is not necessary in our lives will be removed, one item at a time, and I will regain something. I'm going to regain something that I lost, my sanity. And the visual effect will be a clean and orderly home. Together as husband and wife, we will conquer all of this with our love for one another. I want to tell you, friends, that writing this journal has really helped me to understand some of the things that I've been going through for years and years and years. Things that I often didn't talk about. There was a time in my life when I was afraid for anybody to come into my house if my house wasn't perfectly clean. And now I am dealing with the opposite end of that spectrum, which is the clutter. Now we can walk through our home. It's not wall-to-wall clutter and pathways and extreme hoarding and things like that. But it is, to an extent, some hoarding going on. And I have to come to terms with that. Am I hoarding too many spoons? Let's use spoons as an example. Am I hoarding spoons? Well, no, I'm not really, but in some cases it might be newspapers. People have been known to hoard newspapers, and they will be stacked from the floor to the ceiling, and you can only see a path to a single chair in the room. I remember many, many years ago, there was a man that lived in the building that we lived in, and in his apartment, you couldn't see outside. You couldn't see out the window. All you could see was all the newspapers that he had collected and his chair. It's a sad, lonely situation that you corner yourself into. I don't want to get there. In this book, one of the Amish sayings is, if you must doubt, doubt your doubts, not your beliefs. Oh, how true that is. This book has been a lifesaver for me because it is teaching me to become whole again. One of the other sayings that says the best way to succeed in life is to act on the advice you give others. And I do give advice to others. But I live this secret life. And the last one that I'm going to, the last one that I'm going to read to you out of here is, it is better to suffer wrong than to commit a wrong. So I'm learning just from the little Amish sayings in this book. I didn't add any scripture to this today, but you can go and read just about any one of the Psalms and know what King David suffered through. His life was laid out for everybody to see. His faults were laid out for everybody to see. And he did sin against God, and clutter to me is a sin against God. And one of my prayers is, God, help me get control of my household. I want to be a woman of God and be a virtuous woman of God. And I don't want to let my past dictate my future. So with that said, friends, if you see anything of value in this, please comment below the video and let me know. Because one of the things that being told this as a child was, you feel unworthy. And I need to feel worthy. And so I reach out in many, many ways and do many, many things. And I've done many things over the years to prove my worth. Whether I'll ever be worthy to anybody in my family, I don't know. I know that my siblings and I do not see eye to eye, and I'm sad over it. I want that relationship. I've always wanted it, but I was the baby of the family, and they're so much older than I am. And to be honest with you, I don't know how much longer I will have both of my siblings. So it's something that I deal with and I think about. This is a little bit of a heart-to-heart in a way, because when your family doesn't support you and love you and treat you with respect, it leaves deep scars. And I have deep, deep scars. I do truly, truly appreciate all my friends out there. I can't see your face, but I know your names. And I think about those names and what this YouTube journey has meant for me. These days I live a very sheltered life. I'm alone a lot throughout the day, and so I have time to think. So I want to tell you this. If somebody has ever told you that you're not worthy, they lied to you, because you are worthy. God tells us that we are worthy. He calls us His sons and His daughters. And I am a child of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And today I am straightening my crown. I'm putting on a smile. I am going to be the best me I possibly can. And with that said, may you be fully blessed.